Good evening, it's 8 o'clock. I'm Sally Burdett, live from Johannesburg. Your top stories this evening.
No apologies will be accepted. We will have to march on Eskom.
Eskom gets a hammering on day one of its public hearings, asking for tariff hikes. A 50th birthday party on the beach in Durban descends into horror. A family is claiming off-duty soldiers opened fire on them after a fight over a pair of pliers. And in Zimbabwe, protests on the streets of major cities as the fuel price more than doubles. We start our bulletin here. Sparks flew on day one of public hearings into electricity price hikes. Eskom has a debt of over 400 billion rand, and they want you to pay some, if not all of it. The power utility wants energy regulator Nersa to grant a 15% tariff hike every year for the next 3 years. But judging by the tone of today's hearings, it's going to be an uphill battle to convince the regulator and the public. Peladi Situsa has the story.
A household currently paying 1,000 rand per month for electricity will be paying 150 rand more by April this year if Eskom gets its way. Over 3 years, this amount will skyrocket to just over 1,500 rand. But at least the power utility has said sorry.
They were avoidable. We could have done so. All these challenges, the load shedding and all these things that have been built over time. So we apologize for that.
Those attending the hearings say the public should not have to pay for years of maladministration and alleged looting.
No apologies will be accepted. We will have to march on Eskom.
It is common knowledge that Eskom lost through corruption about R1 trillion+ rands.
Eskom was unable to provide energy regulator Nersa with an update on investigations into corruption and fraud.
This problem is more than 100 billion on Medupi, 100 billion on Kusile, and 30 billion on Ngula. And I'm not even talking about the Mickey Mouse amounts that have been stolen every day.
Even though Eskom plans to raise revenue of over 700 billion rand through tariffs, it still won't be enough to service its debts.
Because it's so significant at 419 billion to relieve the pressure on the tariff, our proposal as Eskom is we need government support on a portion of this debt, but those discussions are currently ongoing.
President Ramaphosa is set to meet with the Eskom task team this week for an update. Peladi Situsa, Cape Town.
A 50th birthday party on the beach turned into a nightmare this weekend. 5 people were shot at on Saturday night on the bluff in Durban. The family says they approached a group of off-duty soldiers to borrow some pliers. An argument ensued. The family says the soldiers fired on them, and then later the family say they were assaulted by the bodyguard of a well-known politician. Reporter Nabila Sheikh tried to piece together exactly what happened on Saturday night.
It was like a scene from a movie. A Wentworth family say they're still reeling from shock. 5 of their family members were shot while celebrating a 50th birthday party at the weekend. They were at the Anstey's beach on the bluff.
The family says what was meant to be a happy occasion turned into a disaster for them. They've said it was like a scene out of a Wild West movie. One woman lost her eye, another was shot in the jaw.
A group of SANDF soldiers allegedly opened fire at them with rifles. The family say they'd approached the soldiers to ask for help, but a heated argument ensued and the SANDF soldiers shot at them. The soldiers had been staying in a guest house near the beach.
So we were celebrating my husband's 50th birthday on the beach. So when it was time for us to pack up and go, my friend's key broke. And at that time I thought it was the ignition, but it was somewhere, and he was asking people for help and so forth, and then he stopped this car, and at that time they were rude and a big misunderstanding broke out, and then I don't know what happened, but afterwards just big shootouts broke out.
The The family said they still can't fathom what the soldiers had been doing with the rifles in a public place. The family also fired shots during the exchange.
It was chaos. And for people to come here with high caliber guns, this is a public area.
Cotton said he's afraid that investigations would be a cover-up. The family say after the shooting, EFF leader Julius Malema's bodyguard, Adrian Snyman, assaulted them. He runs a security company in the area. He allegedly went to the scene to see what was going on. They've since opened cases against him.
We have opened cases against him, and we just have to wait until the law takes its course.
Snyman refused to respond to the allegations. He said he would not comment on ongoing police investigations. Police confirmed the incident was being investigated. South African National Defence Force spokesperson Brigadier General Mafi Ngobozi said he was aware of the incident, but that it was being viewed as a private matter. Nabila Sheikh, Durban.
The Mpumalanga mother accused of murdering her 4 children has withdrawn her bid for bail. Instead, Zintle Maditla is to be sent for mental evaluation at the request of her lawyer. Malungelo Boy was at the eMalahleni Magistrates Court today and has those details.
4 children, the youngest only 11 months old, murdered, allegedly by their 24-year-old mother. Their grandmother here in court supporting her daughter. Zintle Maditla appeared nervous while abandoning her bail application. Instead, her lawyers applied for her to be sent for mental observation. The defense is arguing Maditla was not herself when the crime was committed. It wants a team of 3 psychiatrists and a psychologist to examine her, and the court has agreed, much to the relief of her family.
We are happy that we are sent for observation, yes.
How's the family doing?
We're trying to cope with our loss, but the loss is difficult. But life must go on. We as family have forgiven her. We wanted to help her.
Maditla's family is saying it's already forgiven her.
Did she have any problems? I mean, mental problem, depression problem, history? Is there something that she's been battling with?
No, she was perfect herself. She's nothing to battle with this. Yeah.
Maditla is being sent to Ermelo Psychiatric Hospital. She'll be back in court on the 14th of February. Malungelo Boy, eMalahleni, Mpumalanga.
And news just in this evening, the Department of Correctional Services has confirmed that Spanish national Mario Cesar Diaz Yella has died. Now, officials are suspecting he may have overdosed on his medication in prison. Yella, a Spanish doctor, was due to appear in court on the 29th of February for murdering his twin sons in 2017. You may remember that case was highly publicised. An investigation into the suspected suicide has now been launched. Other news making local headlines, and questions are being raised about the use of armed private security guards at Laerskool Schweizerenike in the northwest. Tensions ran high after a photograph emerged last week showing black and white pupils being seated separately in class. Now, the teacher who took that picture has since been suspended. Some of the images taken that day, however, also showed children of all races sitting together. However, there are calls for a more detailed look at integration issues in schools in that area. An investigation by Education MEC Selo Lehari is expected to wrap up tomorrow. Racial tension outside a school in El Dorado Park today. People there are demanding the removal of 7 black teachers from the local secondary school. The community is accusing the Gauteng Department of Education of dictating to them about which teachers to have in their school. The school governing body says they are not racist, they merely want to choose who to employ, and these individuals have in the past been disruptive. The man accused of starting the Betty's Bay fire that destroyed at least 41 houses and could have led to at least 1 death faces possibly more charges. Shelton April's bail hearing has been postponed to the 23rd of this month at the Caledon Magistrates Court. His case has now been moved to the regional court. The 34-year-old was arrested 2 days after the fire started, this on the back of a 5,000 rand reward offered by the Overstrand municipality. He's been charged with contravening the National Environmental Management Act, but these charges could now be added to. Still ahead on eNews, outrage over Zimbabwe's steep fuel prices. And of course, market news with Rafiwe.
Yeah, Sally, a choppy day for the rand. The local unit has fallen back towards that 14 rand against the US dollar mark, and we'll find out why.
It's time to talk money now with Rafiwe Madzena. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We're starting with looking at foot and mouth disease in the Vembe area of Limpopo, and we've got some more details. Just exactly how serious is it? Because we are aware that people tend to get very freaked out about foot and mouth disease. How serious should we be taking this?
Right, so the Minister of Agriculture did hold a briefing today, and he said that it's not as serious as it has been perceived to be. In fact, out of 15,000 cattle within that area that has been quarantined, about 50 have been found to have the foot and mouth disease. So let's actually just listen to what the Minister had to say about the level of seriousness there.
This is a spillage, because the spillage from the infected area to the free zone, and the population of animals in that area is between 10 and 15,000 animals. Only a small portion thereof, about 50,000, but 50 cattle, which are quarantined as we speak, has been affected because tests were done and they confirmed that they've been infected. Our teams today are doing vaccinations. We hope that we can clean those animals.
So hopefully it can be contained, but let's face it, we've lost our foot and mouth disease-free status internationally, and we are not exporting meat at the moment to certain areas. So what impact is it having on the meat export industry?
That's right, Sally. I mean, on that point, the previous time when we had foot and mouth disease, we lost about 6 billion rand in revenue. So it was quite a significant impact on the meat exporting industry. We've seen that some countries in the SADC region, including Botswana, Namibia and Zimbabwe, have banned imports of meat from South Africa. And this will remain the case until, as you say, that certificate has been reissued to South Africa to say that we are foot and mouth disease free. So this is a story that we'll continue watching.
Absolutely. Talk us through the markets today.
Let's look at those markets. So the JSE was in the deep red this morning, in line with the global markets, and closed just over 0.5% weaker. And this was, of course, dragged down by industrials and some of those retailers, with Truworths leading those losses, down about 5.18%. On the commodities front, Brent crude is hovering around that $60 a barrel a mark, and analysts are saying that this is based on Chinese data showing that imports and exports in the world's biggest trading nation have slowed. Meanwhile, gold remains that safe haven asset as it edged higher with a weaker US dollar as well as lower stocks in the US. The rand saw some weakening on the local front, and this is of course after that ANC statement on Saturday was delivered by President Ramaphosa, but it wasn't enough to take the rand back to that $14 mark. So China's slowing economy is having an impact on the local unit as well as other emerging market currencies.
Well, thank you very much, Rafiwe. We'll chat again to you tomorrow, keeping an eye on the markets for us. Well, if you're battling with the cost of petrol here in South Africa, spare a thought for our neighbours across the border in Zimbabwe. A litre of petrol will cost you around 45 rand there. Today, citizens voiced their unhappiness at the massive price hike. There were violent protests in the capital, Harare, and other major centres. All this while President Emmerson Mnangagwa is in Russia. Now, protesters barricaded roads, burned tyres and set cars alight in Zimbabwe today. The price hike, which came into effect over the weekend, amounts to an increase of around 150%. The president has hiked the prices to manage months of shortages, he says, but this move will almost certainly send the price of basic goods skyrocketing. Police fired tear gas to disperse the protesting crowds today. Of course, the demonstration today comes on the heels of a protest by junior doctors who were unpaid in December.
Ndatombonzwisisa zvakuitika munyika medu ino. Because if you inozungwikana yangonzi yato $3 kana vakanzi $3 kuvabereki vacho tovatakurawo mari.
Ordinary passengers are going to be affected very much. So ordinary citizens, ordinary workers, because sometimes your salary you'll be getting maybe just around 500. And then you have to spend $6 a day to travel from work to home and going back.
They don't have enough US dollars, but we're exporting diamond, exporting gold, platinum, lithium. Where's the man going? Gold. So they should have that man to buy fuel.
Still ahead, we'll go to Joel at our weather centre for your live weather. Hey, Joel. And then, why did the hippo cross the road? Well, we'll find out after the break. Your weather news now from Joel Guy in Cape Town. Evening, Joel. We've had another dramatic thunderstorm this afternoon. Are there more in store this week?
Yes, Sally, good evening. Well, we have a stormy weather going on over the northeast, as you rightly say, and the storms are going to stay with us for a good part of your Monday night heading into Tuesday. At the same time, we are going to be seeing rain showers along parts of the east coast and the adjacent interior. Then on Tuesday morning, we start off the day with quite a bit of cloud and fog patches for parts of Mpumalanga and eastern KwaZulu-Natal, and it will be partly cloudy for parts of the Eastern Cape. Then in the afternoon, we are going to once again see isolated to scattered thunderstorms over much of eastern South Africa, including parts of KwaZulu-Natal and the eastern areas of the Eastern Cape. In the meantime, it will stay sunny and sizzling hot for the central and western areas, and this cold front here will drive in lots of rain-bearing clouds into the south coast, giving us drizzly conditions over those areas in the evening, and we will stay with thunderstorms over the eastern areas on Tuesday night. Now let's take it closer to your part of the country. We are going to see lots of sunshine once again over much of the northern Cape on Tuesday, and it's going to be sizzling hot for the northeastern sections with highs in the upper 30s. A mostly sunny and warm to hot day is also forecast for the Western Cape, Cape Town and Nangaban, peaking at around 26 degrees. It will be partly cloudy and cooler as we go towards the south coast. Partly cloudy and warm to hot weather is forecast for the western areas of the Eastern Cape, but we will see isolated rain and thundershowers over the eastern parts of the province. KwaZulu-Natal will be pretty unsettled with Durban warming to around 27 degrees. We are going to see isolated to scattered thunderstorms across much of Mpumalanga. It will stay hot from Bombela, peaking at around 32 degrees. Similar weather is forecast across the Limpopo province, Polokwane warming to around 29. We are also going to see unsettled weather over the eastern areas of the northwest, Mahikeng reaching a hot 38 degrees for the top temperature. We stay with mostly sunny and hot weather for the western parts of the Free State, but thundershowers will persist over the eastern parts of the province, extending northwards into Gauteng, where highs in the lower 30s are expected. Now, here's looking ahead to your Wednesday. We are going to see rain and thundershowers over eastern South Africa, extending down into the Eastern Cape. It will be mostly sunny for the western parts of the country. Then on Thursday, a bit of rain can be expected for Cape Town, and stormy weather continues for the eastern areas. That's all from me for now, Sally. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Joel Guy. And finally, why did the hippopotamus cross the road? Well, are you going to stop him? A jaywalking hippo has been apprehended in Mpumalanga. Now, the young male was found grazing next to the R40 on Sunday night. According to the general manager of a local community watch, the hippo is a repeat offender. He was spotted several times roaming the streets before a rescue operation was launched. According to a member of the rescue team, the effort to dart the animal took hours, and I can quite believe that. Look at him. So, a reminder of your top stories this evening.
No apologies will be accepted. We will have to march on Eskom.
Eskom gets a hammering on day one of its public hearings asking for tariff hikes. And in Zimbabwe, protests on the streets of major cities as the fuel price more than doubles. From me and the team, it's a very good night.